Welcome in, everybody. It is the Craft Beer Republic. Yeah. I'm just joking. Well, thank you all for coming out. We are live. We are at 14 Cannons for what I'm very excited to talk about in just a couple of seconds here. Thank you all for joining us. We have a beer release. Most importantly, though, I am being joined by probably the nerdiest person I know in the best way possible. He's got more beer knowledge than Untapped has bad reviews. And that is the head brewer here at 14 Cannons, Nic Bortolin. Give it up for Nic, everybody.
Hey.
Yes, indeed. We got together and collabed on a beer with Will, who unfortunately could not make it tonight from California Coffee Republic, but his coffee made it, so that's what counts. We've got a flight in front of us that I hope you guys will join and drink along. We will be doing a guided tasting. We'll be talking about the brewery. We'll talk about Nic's background a little bit. And hopefully have a good time. But most importantly, we're here on a school night. Thank you all for coming out on a school night. And because we're here on a school night, I think we should get right into our first beer. So no music necessary. Nic, what are we going to drink first?
First beer in our flight is our Pilsner. It's Patient Pilsner. This is our Czech-style Pilsner. And it's one of my favorite beers here. One of the lightest beers we make. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to start with this one just as a good way to get your palate going before we get into the heavy stuff with the coffee and the hops after that. So
I was trying to convince Nic that we should start off with like a triple IPA, but he said it was a bad idea.
We'll get there for sure. Yeah,
I'm very excited. So what goes into Patient Pilsner?
Well, what makes it Czech style is we actually import all of the ingredients for this beer from the Czech Republic, which is a lot of fun and pretty nerdy. So we use Bohemian floor malted Pilsner malt for this that is actually made in the Czech Republic. Our hops in this, like if you get I get kind of a lemon note when you finish this beer on the end of that.
Like a little like almost lemongrass type of...
Exactly, yeah. So that comes from a hop called Kozbek, which is a Czech grown hop that I got to experience firsthand when I studied abroad in Prague. And it's not a typical hop for a Czech style Pilsner, but it's one that I really like. So we use that here. We use a Czech-style yeast that we import. And then most importantly, the water. The water, we mimic water from Pilsen, Czech Republic, where the Pilsner was invented by Pilsner Urquell.
How does that work? How do you mimic water?
So we have a reverse osmosis water system here. And so we can make sure that every single style of beer that we make has its own water recipe. And that's why it's really hard to have... some true to style lagers in America most oftentimes is because the water that brewers are using. And so we get to play with water profiles and mimic them true to style. And that's how all of our lagers are so different and I think so spot on classically.
Excuse me, I was drinking. I told you this guy's super nerdy. Water profiles, hops, and let's see if I get this right. The yeast from this is then what you use in K17, right?
That's true. Yeah,
Holy
that's
crap,
correct.
I remembered. Yeah. Economical. Very nice. Yeah, this is a good hot day beer. You can, pound a few of these if we're being honest. Is this one of those annoying ones that when people come in like, what's your lightest beer? Or you just like hand them this one?
We have one lighter than this, but yeah, it's a good starter for sure. 4.8%, so you can definitely drink more than one of them without getting in trouble.
Yeah, football beer. Football or baseball beer. Hey, baseball's back, everybody. Who knew? As of today. That's why I wore my shirt, to make Nic really happy because he's a Giants fan. All right. Also, I want to mention, shout out to Erica from Neck Nosh for the sweet pretzel hookup over here. Thank you very much for that. All right. Well, you guys are sipping on some beers. We're going to talk about some stuff, and then we'll get into some more beers because, let's be honest, that's why we're here. Unfortunately, Will could not make it, like I said, from California Coffee Republic, but he was part of the brew day. He was also a big part of the coffee experience that's in our collab brew that you guys are going to taste in just a second. I did not know how nerdy coffee could be until we hung out with Will that day. He's like the sommelier of coffee.
It was impressive.
Yeah, I didn't know that coffee came from beans, or like fruits, not beans. I know coffee is beans. I didn't know they were like little berries.
I think I knew that, but
I'm the idiot.
The process of the coffee really shocked me.
Yeah, so he brought us 3 different ones to try that day. I believe 1 was washed, 2 were roasted.
Yeah, and there was an unwashed.
The unwashed masses. Right. He had a very specific way of getting them ready. He had a very specific temperature. They sat there for 18 minutes. He set a timer, and then once that timer went off, he had to break the crust, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's like pudding when you make pudding at home, and it's got that nasty, crust on top. He had to break the crust, and then we were only allowed to try it with spoons. We had to load the spoon and then sip it. And we also learned that we are inferior sippers.
I think it was more of a slurp than a sip. Yeah, it was
Mine was more of a
shotgunning
sip.
coffee.
Yeah, he was taking it straight to the veins. He was pretty good at that. So we ended up with an Ethiopian coffee.
Yes, the Ethiopian Benza, I think, was a
Wow.
variety, and it was a washed bean. So hashtag wash your beans, I guess. We'll get that going for Will.
It's going to be trending very, very shortly. Hashtag wash your beans. All right, so before we get into that beer, because I'm still sipping on this Patient Pilsner, let's talk about you guys. You guys have been here for 4.5 years. Ish, about that. I was looking up today, and we did our first interview on February 27th, 2018.
Wow.
And I was like, holy crap, that was 4 years ago. Almost to the day. So
Time flies.
Yeah. Batch 85, if you guys want to go back and listen to Baby Greg and Baby Nick talk about beer.
I think that was my very first podcast.
Really?
That I'd ever done.
And you've never done it. You swore them off at that point. Like, this is enough. You guys are awful. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I think at the time you had definitely not a full tap list.
No, we opened with
6
like
beers.
3 or 4 beers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think by then you had like 6 on tap or something. I remember the soft opening. You had like Tyrannicide, Patient Pills.
Maybe. I don't know if we opened the lagers. I think they
Okay.
were still lagering.
I remember just drinking a lot of Tyrannicide. That night. That was an Uber night. And then so since then, you feel like you've kind of hit your stride as a brewery? You're still working on it?
We've established what our core beers are, which is a lot of fun. We got to add Point Doom as a year-round core. During the pandemic, that was one of the few bright spots. People wanted higher ABV stuff. And so
they weren't driving.
Yeah. So our double IPA is now a year-round core beer that we can. That was a fun ad. Pilsner is available year-round in cans. We love canning this. We also can our Catorce, which is our Mexican lager. And then obviously the Tyrannicide that you alluded to, our flagship beer. That old 14 cannon gunship Tyrannicide.
Right. And I've been slipping Nick $20 bills every time I'm here, trying to get him to can K17 as well. One of these days.
Maybe someday.
I keep asking. It doesn't hurt to ask. What's your top seller these days?
It's definitely Tyrannicide.
Okay.
Number 2 is our Pilsner. And then 3 is always kind of fun. We have an amber lager, our Maruna Marzen, that we make that sells really, really well. In-house, our Peanut Butter Cup always sells really well. But that's not a beer you can really find out in the wild. Not something we'll can.
True or false? You hate making that beer.
I love all of my children equally.
I remember I think it was the first time we did an interview, and we had about 4 different people interrupt us, even though you guys weren't. It was like 11 in the morning, and people really wanted beer. And I remember one guy came in and said, "Oh, I traveled all the way from NorCal to get your peanut butter." I was like, "What?"
People love peanut butter, man.
Yeah, they do. Which is awesome for you, but weird for them. All right. Well, I'm at a Pilsner.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah, I am. This is what I'm most
This is
excited
the
for.
moment. Yeah.
I had this pre-coffee. I had this with coffee and no carbonation. And here we are with carbonation.
So this is Morning Watch, our collab.
Yes. And it is not easy to name a nautical-themed beer and also try and work in the word republic.
No.
It's Nick says to me, like, come up with a name. 2 republics?
I figured with the podcast, you
Right.
have people sending in names. We'll get there, I'm sure.
We have a whole list of names.
Yeah.
I'll get to those momentarily. All right, so we talked about the coffee. That we talk about the beer.
Well, smell it. It smells like coffee, which is amazing. Like the aroma from this is 100% just, I think, speaks to the quality of the coffee beans we used. They were roasted the morning before we put them in the tank, which is pretty unique and a rare opportunity. A lot of times when brewers are playing with coffee, they don't really know what the source was, or they don't know when it was roasted or to what temperatures it was roasted. And with Will, we had all of that information.
Yeah, I mean, he had it memorized.
Yeah. And
what temperature, what was washed,
Right.
what wasn't washed.
So to have, the actual coffee roaster deliver coffee beans the day they're going in the tank,
Yeah.
I think is a lot of this aroma. So when you put your nose in the glass, it's just pops out at me that I get some chocolate almost from that coffee. And then the base beer itself, when you look at it, it's a light beer. So I really wanted the aroma to pop, and then when we sip it, it should kind of surprise you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best part of waking up. This is
Morning watch.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like so many breweries, when coffee's in the name, it's a dark beer. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I purposely wanted to do a lighter style beer, was to kind of, mess with people, if you will. Because coffee stouts and porters are great, but, everyone's been homebrewing that for the last, 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wanted to play with the lighter style of beer to really show off the aromatics of the coffee, and then I think the finish on this, like after you swallow and then back of your tongue, it's nice and crisp and dry, like a good Kolsch should be. Because a good Kolsch should make you want that second sip, and I think
dry and crispy.
Yeah, this accomplishes that. So as the weather's starting to get warmer here, I think we have a great Kolsch that you can wake up and drink.
Yeah, hopefully it lasts till summer. Little backstory on the collab. Nic had a beer called Liquid Gold, which was a coffee cream ale.
That was a cream ale.
And it was amazing. And what we discovered was the only people buying it are at this podcast right now. And we were hardcore fans, but we were the only hardcore fans, apparently. And I cursed him out for not bringing it back.
That is how this collab started.
Yeah, and he was just like, then why don't you come up with a coffee beer? I was like, okay. So we went back and forth. We talked IPAs, but Go Fast already happened. And one day I texted him. I was like, I just can't get off the coffee Kolsch. She's like, did we talk about this already? I swear we didn't talk about this.
Yeah, because I had a coffee Kolsch recipe I'd been waiting to use.
Yeah.
And then you said coffee Kolsch, and it was like, well, here's our collab.
Yeah. And this is not something you see anywhere.
No, I think it's fairly unique. If anyone still has Pilsner left in their glasses, I have a little left. The lightness between the Pilsner and the coffee Kolsch, another reason I wanted to start with the Pilsner was to see the color difference. When we brewed the Kolsch, it was almost the identical malt bill as this Pilsner. We used a lot of the same Pilsner malt as the base of this, but there's a definite color difference. The coffee Kolsch is much deeper golden color.
Yeah.
And I think that was just color pickup from the coffee. So it's fun to see the color pickup that happened. Tasting it throughout the fermentation process, it was coming out of the tank very light, looked like a classic Pilsner or Kolsch would. And then when we added the beans, it got a really gorgeous gold to it.
Goldeny, yeah. So I remember trying the Kolsch before you, what do you call it? Not dry hop, dry coffee?
Before we added coffee,
yeah. I mean, that by itself was really good, and maybe we could put that on tap someday, but add the coffee in there, it's really, really good. All right, get nerdy for us for just a second, and then I'll prep all the horrible names for us that I came up with and some of the listeners came up with. Spend the next 8 to 34 minutes talking about the really cool thing about the yeast. I thought this was cool, if you guys are nerdy.
So we got an actual Kolsch-style yeast from Cologne in Germany, and that was great. So we have an awesome lab that I use that grows up the styles yeast that we asked for. So they sourced an actual yeast from Cologne, grew it up, and then sent it to us. So this is literally yeast from Germany all the way to Westlake Village.
That's so cool. Yeah. But I'm also nerdy. All right, so as soon as this came out, Nic said, or as soon as it got brewed, Nic said, help us come up with a name. Obviously, 14 Cannons is very nautical themed. And then 2 Republics were part of the collab. So it's like, all right, let's see if we can work Republic into this name. That's really hard. That's a tall order. So I came up with the list, and a bunch of listeners came up with some names. I figured, stop me if you guys hear a name that works. Pint of Joe. All right. Not So Sleepy Joe. Republic Public. Republic Pub Licks. And this one's going to take a little bit of imagination. Three's Compass Tea. And then just ARG. Yeah, that's a good one. Brown-Eyed Winch. And one of my favorites I just heard today, Morning Wood. That's the winner. Brew Republic, Republic of Brew, Perky Joe Republic, Perky Republic, a lot of perkiness. Republic Grounds, Republic Source, Pint Republic, Coffee Break Republic, that's not horrible. Coffee Council Republic. And here are my really bad ones. Rise and Grind, Steeped, Not Stirred, Bonus Cup, Jitter Juice, Jolt Revolt, The Wench's Breakfast, Blackjack's Republic, Cannon Republic, Muddy Waters. I got a lot of flack for that one.
That's a hard pass.
Riding the Ship, and Red Eye Republic.
How are those bad?
I mean, there's a couple of usable ones in there, but that was
Riding the ship with Wreck Yo Ship.
Yeah,
Sort
yeah.
of like, you have one at night and one the next morning to recover.
this is definitely a breakfast for those that are listening to the podcast and can't hear a word that people are saying. Right. There's a mic over there if anybody wants it. Riding the ship because last night you got a little
I like that.
toasty, and then you had one of these in the morning. You're good to go. All right, so are you prepared to take Will's space and talk about the coffee, or
We can certainly taste the coffee.
Yeah, let's.
So this is a nitro cold brew that we did make here with California Coffee Republic coffee. The same exact coffee that is in the beer we did a batch of cold brew with, and so that's what we're on to now. It's kind of fun just to see how wildly different it is.
Yeah, that was one of the most fun things to me is because it was the same coffee that went in. You can kind of taste the roots, if you will. That's not a thing.
So for us, when we were tasting, we also had the raw materials in front of us on the brew day. We had samples of the grain we were using and the hops we were using as well. And I remember when you and I were smelling the hops we used Mandarina Bavaria hops.
Yeah, a lot of citrus
in
coming
this,
out of
which
that.
is a German kind of new age hop that is a aroma specific variety of hop. And when we smelled the hops and then smelled this coffee, the citrus notes were like almost identical. And so that's for me when I know we tasted blind, like we weren't telling anyone what we wanted to use as far as the coffee. But for me, as soon as I smelled the hops and then smelled and tasted this coffee, I got the same exact citrus notes. And I think that's why it blends so well in the beer.
Yeah, and like there was one of the other coffees, and now I can't remember which one, I actually liked better as a coffee by itself, but I thought this one really worked well with the hops that we were sniffing on. And,
Yeah, definitely.
and that sort of thing. Obviously I'm not prepared to really talk about the coffee. I just found out recently that they came from berries. So so let me lead you on a guided tasting of this. So this is on Nitro.
Yes.
How does that work? How do you put coffee on Nitro?
Well, we make a cold brew. We steep it. We do a 24-hour steep with this. I think that's important to coffee making. I don't make it myself. I'm not going to pretend that I do. I have a cellar guy that does a great job making the coffee for us here. And it's a 24-hour steep. We do use our reverse osmosis water, so we get to play with some water profiles a little bit as well.
Not typical city of Westlake water.
Yeah, LA water and coffee or beer for that matter probably don't want to try.
Call it like the DWP IPA or something like that.
Yeah, another closed brewery maybe. And then after that 24-hour steep, we nitrogenate it just with a carb stone and a keg, and then get it pouring like a Guinness. So when you order this, it does have that nice Guinness head on it.
Yeah, it's really pretty when they poured it out.
Yeah, it does the whole nitrogenation, and it's something we're going to keep on tap. So anyone that is listening and anyone's here, if you ever need a pick me up, we'll always have fresh cold brew on tap from California Coffee Republic because they're local and amazing.
Yeah, they make good
why
stuff.
not use what you got around you, right?
Right, yeah. Will's doing it right. So.
So it's fun to be able to play with that. You know, we had an extra Nitro tap handle and thought we'd throw on a keg of coffee.
Have you ever had beer on that Nitro tap?
Oh yeah, we've done several different ones. But
Wow.
we'll do some in the
so
future.
uninformed.
Yeah, we have more.
Nice.
Coming,
Let's talk about, since I'm still sipping on both of these, let's talk about a couple of things that are coming up. Next week, for those of you who are live, next week, St. Patty's Day, there's going to be a party out back that will not involve Nic playing music.
But there will be plenty of live music.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was disappointed to hear it, too.
St. Patrick's Day is going to be a great party here. Please come back, tell your friends. It'll be our back patio, stage, live bands all night. And a good time for all of us Americans to pretend like we're Irish for a day, right?
Yeah. Any special like Irish food or
We
Irish
will
pizzas?
have a food truck.
Okay.
We normally don't because we have our own kitchen here.
Right.
But we will have a food truck coming in. That'll be a lot of fun doing that. And then we'll have some beer specials on all of our dark beers.
And corned beef pizza or...
We'll have to run that by the chef.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should be so happy to hear that. Taking requests now. And then on May 21st, you guys are having like your first ever beer festival.
Beer Festival, May 21st, Brews and Crews. We have 14 confirmed breweries coming.
Holy crap.
They are what I believe are the best breweries from Orange County and LA. So we have Green Cheek coming, we have Rip coming, Long Beach Beer Lab, Bearded Tang, to name a few. It's going to be a great time. Our newish neighbors, Kind of Lawless in the Valley, is going to be here.
Oh, nice.
So we're very excited for the beer festival. We'll be throwing tickets. Will be live very, very soon. So follow us for ticketing announcements for Brews and Crews, which will be great. My band will be playing at that.
Yeah?
So if you want to see me come geek out on some trumpet as well, some ska music will be. Yeah, I figured that'll be good beer festival mojo.
Yeah, round of applause for ska, right? I mean, come on.
I was just gonna say,
back the 90s? Very nice.
Got a tent full of 90s babies here,
Yeah. That'll be sweet. Are you guys gonna do like any like special collabs for that or?
Not this year, but
Okay.
it is the first annual. It's the whole festival is presented by Beer Gang, and Beer Gang is our awesome distribution company in LA. And so it's every brewery on their platform will be involved in the festival, which is how we are getting such a eclectic and badass group of breweries to come up to Westlake for a day and party with us.
Yeah, that's quite the group.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's exciting. All right, before we move on to Wreck Yo Ship, because I'm still finishing this one. I'm slow tonight. I wanted to ask a few things that I haven't asked in previous interviews. First of all, when it comes to like taproom behavior, what really grinds your gears?
What really grinds my gears? Dirty growlers.
Okay.
Dirty growlers. I think I saw one today. A customer comes in and says, "Can you clean this for me, please?"
Oh.
Yeah. The answer is no.
There's like chunks inside, or
Just if it pops and they open
Right.
the cap and you hear a fizz. Yeah, that's
they're growing their own wild strain
yeah.
of yeast.
Yeah, they have no idea they have kombucha in there.
Right. What's the best way to store a growler besides rinsing it out so you don't grow nasty
Without
stuff
the
in
top
there?
on it.
Oh.
Without the cap on it. Yeah.
All right, so bust the cap.
Yeah.
What about people stealing glassware?
Is an issue.
Sorry, we
It
were just
is an
talking
issue
about
for
that.
sure. Our glassware is walking out quite often as of late. I think it's this nice patio out here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe gives people a little more courage.
Yeah,
To put something in their purse.
Yeah, you can buy cans, everybody. You don't need
Yeah.
to take your cup to go. All right, before I get to the rest of the questions, let's party. When we were talking about what should we have in the podcast flight, we came up with the first three right off bat. And it was like, how do we end this thing? It's like, well, let's end it with a party. Let's hit a triple IPA on our way out the door, because why not? I know that this is 10.5%, and it drinks like it's 5. So tell us about Wreck Yo Ship.
I mean that's it.
All right, good night, everybody. Hit some music. Thanks for coming
Party
out.
in a can.
Yeah.
It's a very Citra heavy triple IPA. It is 10.5%, like you said. One of the things I think hides the alcohol really well is the malt bill on this. We use a lot of Golden Promise, which gives it it's really nice color and hides that alcohol, as do how we bitter it. So this gets a huge bittering addition in first wort as well as beginning to boil. I feel like if you have an unbalanced, like really high ABV beer, a lot of times it's because the bitterness isn't balanced.
Mm-hmm. So first wort, what's a first wort hop edition?
As soon as if you're brewing at home, as soon as you start running off into the kettle, you'd add hops. So it isomerizes for the 90 minutes or so you fill up, and then you get to a boil.
So I mean, that's just like complete bittering hops. I mean,
Yeah, you get no aroma from that at all or flavor, just pure bitterness. But then at the same time, like I think it really tempers the alcohol here.
yeah, really balances things out. I get a lot of that citrus on the nose.
This is triple dry hopped, so
Triple dry.
I'm
hop.
glad you get a lot of Citra on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I passed the test. Yes.
Yeah, it's quite excessive. The other thing we do is the first dry hop for this beer happens during fermentation, during primary fermentation, which on our scale is fun and quite dangerous. And if you've ever seen a tank exploding on Instagram, it's probably because they were trying to dry hop during primary fermentation. So the yeast is active, it's ripping. So we get more of like a biotransformation with the yeast and the hops than traditional dry hopping is at the end of fermentation. So you're just adding, the hops to the still beer, and you're just getting that aroma pickup from the oils and the hops. But when the beer's actively fermenting, I think you get a lot more of that juicy terpenes extracted from the hops, and you get all the nice linalool and all that.
So does the yeast like feasting on those hops? Is that why it gets extra pressure?
Yeah, I think there is some biotransformation. Like I said, that you're aerating it a little bit, so there's a lot more nucleation happening, and you're picking up a lot of extra oils that you normally wouldn't.
Well, this is dangerous.
But we like to party here. That's why our single IPA is 7.5%.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming out to St. Patrick's Day, have like 8 of these. You'll be feeling Irish in no time. All right. I always like to end things with rapid fire questions. We've done some of these in the past.
Oh, no.
But we haven't done all of these because it's been a while. And plus, maybe your answers changed. So there's that. So this is where I tell Nick, don't think about this for too long. Just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. And the first beer you ever drank.
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I stole it from my dad.
Oh.
I was a child.
I mean, a child like 9 or child like...
I don't want to, like, my dad to get some hot water here. Yeah. I don't know if my mom's listening.
Hold on, we got a lawyer here. The statute? We're good. Okay.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
First beer you ever brewed?
Was homebrew or professional?
We'll start with home.
Home was a clone of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Oh. Sensing a trend here.
Yeah. Big stretch in your beer styles here. Do you have a favorite style to brew?
The Marzen is my favorite style to brew.
Oh, why?
Yeah. A lot of the color pickup from that beer happens during the brew process.
Okay.
The melanoidins we get and the Maillard reaction in that beer all come from the brewing process, and so it's technically very fun to brew.
Okay. Do you want to give us a definition of what you just said? Those big fancy words.
It's an amber lager, so the nice deep copper color that we get in that beer happen while we're brewing. So we do a couple different techniques on the brew house that we don't do every day.
Okay.
For that one.
I feel like lager is going to be the easy answer, but what's the hardest one to brew?
Yeah, the Pilsner is the hardest one to brew, for sure. Yeah, our Patient Pilsner is the hardest to brew, but I think it's, when you get it right, it's great, it's rewarding. So we keep doing it.
I think this is going to be an easy one, but cans or bottles?
Cans are the future. Bottles are a lie. Yeah.
They're a lie.
Bottles are fake news.
Yeah. As long as you can get cans.
Yeah.
What's your favorite beer and food pairing?
Beer and food. Beer and cheese.
Okay.
I love a beer and cheese pairing.
What kind of beer? What kind of cheese?
I mean,
you're making me hungry.
It's up to the cheesemonger, I guess. But
is that the next thing to come in over here? We got pizza, we got wine, now we get a cheesemonger.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
We
got to get a bigger space.
Yeah. No reason to leave at that point. It is Wednesday night. What are you drinking?
Currently?
Well, I guess tonight's Thursday, but the question I normally ask is Wednesday. It's Thursday night. What do you drink? You're chilling at home. You're watching that new show with Kristen Bell.
I will be drinking. Spencer, what's the Made West beer you just brought? Donlin from Made West is what I'll be drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was in the Growler?
The I-Days.
I-Days. You're not going to drink the hazy?
Well, I was given the Donlin.
Oh, crap.
So shout out to Made West.
Spoiler alert.
Clear beer for the win.
There we go.
I think this is about as hazy as it gets.
Yeah.
But, all right. What is your beercation destination? And don't say the place you lived.
Pilsen.
There we go.
Pilsen, Czech Republic. Go see where the Pilsner was invented. And you can take a nice bath in Pilsner. It is awesome.
Is it good for the skin?
They said. Yeah.
Did you get like an osmosis drunk going on?
Well,
Or
while you're in the warm bath of beer, they're also serving you cold beers.
okay, so it's not just a straw.
So I was tempted, but I didn't. Yeah.
Glad to hear it. What is your favorite outside beer? So non-14 cannons, not something you're making.
Favorite. I mean, we just had Celebration season from Sierra Nevada, and that's always lovely. I do love me some Celebration.
That fresh hop.
Yeah, those OGs up there. And then just it's anything from Enegren usually, our local lager
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
If you're looking for clean and crispy, head on over to Integran. What's your favorite non-beer hobby?
Well, playing trumpet would be my favorite non-beer hobby, and we're playing at Transplants Brewing Company tomorrow night.
Oh,
I don't know if this is going to air in time, but probably
it won't.
Yeah,
So,
it won't. All right.
don't.
So edit that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're listening,
Yeah.
don't go to Transplants tomorrow night because you would already missed it.
Yeah,
Just
you
go to
will have missed
Transplants
us.
for the heck
Yeah.
of it. Did your band have like a gram where people can
The
stalk
Scuba
you?
Kids.
Scuba Kids.
You can stalk the Scuba Kids all you
like
want.
that.
Yeah, check it out.
Is anybody in the band named Steve?
some good fun skanking? No Steves.
Damn it. What's your favorite guilty pleasure beer?
Guilty pleasure beer.
This is where we find out that like you love PBR. Or,
Well, I was raised on PBR. I'm from Reno, Nevada, so yeah. So PBR always flows for $1 there.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite word or slang for being drunk?
Bombed. It's just let's get bombed.
Classic.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have a good like drunk knowledge? Oh, college. I was like, it's like knowledge. Knowledge is a good one because I feel smarter every time I'm hammered too.
Yeah.
Having gravy legs.
Gravy legs, good. Anybody? Drunktastic.
I like that.
Anybody else? Schmammered. Hamskied.
Schmammy.
Schmammied. Schlammered. I should just give everybody a microphone all at once. Anybody else before we move on? Okay, good. Got our drunk words out of the way. Well, you guys, thank you all so much for coming out, for drinking the beer, for drinking the collab. I want to say thanks to Nic, not to get super cheesy, but it was so much fun for me to be here for the day of the brew day and to be part of the coffee process, and then to like sneak back there after a week and try the Kölsch before it was coffeed and then after it was coffeed, and it's been
anytime.
It's been a lot of fun, so thank you so much. Thank you guys for coming out. The Pink Boots Brew, it's coming out.
Couple
weeks.
Couple weeks. That'll be a great IPA we made. With the Pink Boots Hot Blend.
Yeah, we were here last weekend brewing some beer with the Pink Boots Hot Blend. It is the 1 cannon recipe, right?
It is. So our single IPA, so 6.5%. It is tasting great. Andros gave it its first dry hop today.
Oh, nice. Shout out to Andros back there.
So
He's busy gramming. I see him. He's busy gramming.
So it got its first dry hop. It will get double dry hopped, as do all of our IPAs.
Nice.
So a couple weeks, and that'll actually be our next new beer release. So stay tuned for the Pink Boots Brew.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for hanging with us tonight. Thanks for entertaining these lovely people.
Thanks everyone for listening in my tent arc.
Right. Yes. It's nice and echoey. It's a great place to like sing and all. Anybody want to sing? No. Okay. I'm gonna hit some music as we head on out of here. Once again, you guys, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for trying the beer. Nic, thanks for hanging out. Thanks
Cheers.
for inviting me to be part of the brew process.
Anytime.
14cannons.com. 14 Cannons on the gram. Deb is rocking out to the Ford music. Bill Ford tough. You can find us at craftbeerrepublic.com and Craft Beer Republic on the socials. Hey, everybody, get into your phones and program 805-538-BEER. You call us the next time you're drunk instead of your ex. And leave us a drunk voicemail. You'll be glad you did. I think that's everything. Thank you guys again so much for coming out. Go drink some more beer and eat some pizza. And stay really well hydrated out there. And on that note, good night, everybody.